All alderpersons are present. Thank you all for being here, and to those joining us from a live feed or a recording of the meeting. Item 3 on our agenda this evening is the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a silent prayer in lieu of invocation. I invite you to please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 4 on this evening's agenda is the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting, attachment number 1. Council members, what are your wishes regarding that item?
I'll make a motion to dispense with the reading and approve.
A motion by Zerflu, is there a second? Second by Koth. Move into discussion. Are there any additions, corrections, or modifications to the minutes? See no request to speak. Please cast your ballots.
Motion carried, 8 ayes, 0 nays.
Item 5 on our agenda this evening is the explanation of the visitor speaking procedure. Individuals wishing to address the body may do so on an agenda item appearing before us this evening, in which they'll be allowed 5 minutes to speak, and they must introduce themselves for the record. Item 6 on our agenda is a fresh face and introduction of Grace Wiedmeyer as the new student observer to the City Council. Grace, you want to introduce yourself? You have to make sure you hit the button if you can on the microphone. There should be a green light that'll come on. And
Hi, I'm Grace Wiedmeyer. I'm a junior at Lincoln High School. I'm involved with student council, and I got affiliated with this position because Adeline is graduating, and my math teacher actually appointed me to join student council and to become involved with the community.
excellent, Grace. Thank you. Look forward to seeing you at our meetings. Appreciate that. Item number 7 is my report. And here it is. Good evening, council members, staff, and those here are watching from home. It's officially, I think, summer as of maybe 80 degree today. I don't know. We'll see. Happy to share this month's council update with you. The Mayor's Council on Beautification continues to work on spring and summer projects. The flower baskets, as I understand, will be up after Memorial Day. The community tree sale has concluded with another year of success of trees that will be planted both on private and public properties. Their next project in the works is discussion around improvements to certain sections of 8th Street for greater beautification and better aesthetics. The Mayor's Youth Council has not slowed down at all since last month. They've been on potential donor visits with myself and appearing on the mayor's, myself, the radio show I have, as well as visiting elementary school carnivals, just to name a few. The group is currently working on planning annual Kids to Park Day, which will be its second year of doing so. First annual, which will coincide with the Blossom Fest on June 17th, of Saturday of Blossom Fest. There's also a plan in place to build a float for the Blossom Fest Parade, which if you're interested in joining them, I know city staff, we're going to be asking city staff to be involved with that process to plan potentially the float for the parade. But we're also kicking off a fundraising week, all to come the week after Blossom Fest, to generate buzz, more information about the Aquatic Center project. So if you have ideas or want to find a business to approach to host an event around the Aquatic Center discussion that week, that would be great. There's also applications out, and so Grace, I encourage you to apply to the Mayor's Youth Council and other classmates. We have a number of seniors. Adeline is one of them that's graduating and will be leaving us for greater opportunity, hopefully coming back to the community at some point. So I want to thank Adeline for her work here on the Mayor's Youth Council, but also as a student observer. On aquatics, we held the official groundbreaking for the Splash Park at Mead earlier this month, and construction is underway with planned and scheduled opening possibly as soon as late July, but likely in early August, unless some things progress quicker than expected. The Aquatic Center progress is largely paused for fundraising. We've got some discussions related to food service and others underway, but generally the process has paused for us to solicit donors. A goal of $4.5 million has been set to begin construction, and donations, large and small, are being solicited to make this a reality. Over a dozen donations have been received and can be made online or in person at the Finance Department here at City Hall. And we're planning to kick off, as I mentioned, our fundraising efforts with a whole week of events starting the 19th of June or the 17th if you factor in Kids to Park Day at Robinson Park. On the riverfront, MSA and Supermass were here at the beginning of the month to go over final design with city staff. This time they met with smaller and more focused groups, such as realtors, adjacent property owners, and concerned citizens. We remain open to some last-minute feedback on the design before moving into construction documents and final permitting with the DNR, Army Corps of Engineers, and the DOT. The downtown developments, RFPs on the Triangle were due Friday, and community development will be in touch regarding the process forward and a discussion with the council in the near future. Progress continues on the East Town Plaza interior demolition, and a more comprehensive update may be obtained by contacting Paul Bauer in Streets or Adam Tagan in Planning or in Community Development. On the current Young Professionals group, Young Professionals Week ended well in late April, but during that week there was a panel of local business owners that highlighted their experience on placing bets in Wisconsin Rapids. I had the pleasure of moderating that panel and sharing in those folks' experiences doing business here in the city. On Saturday, April 29th of that week, the city co-hosted a community spring clean with Current, the Young Professionals group in Wisconsin Rapids. There was a good number, 21 actually, showed up to go out and about in the community and pick up trash and garbage and a lot of the public right-of-ways, riverfront, and entrances to the city, as well as business parks. All in all, they took 15 full bags of trash. I was a participant in that and found some always interesting things. Someone found $20 over here in the former Obermeyer building footprint, so somebody lost a $20 bill that was found by the group, and they're looking forward to growing the event for next year. Sand Valley held their Community Day on May 1st and is officially open to the world on May 2nd. The press in the New York Times and many Midwest publications has been tremendous, obviously highlighting the course right in our backyard south of the city. Airport improvements and enhancements continue to stay on track, both as a result of the uptick in traffic attributed to Sand Valley, but also planned projects that have been in the works, such as the runway and taxiway improvements. Taxiway improvements and realignment will happen this fall with a major runway reconstruction of the Crosswind runway slated for next year. Bids will go out this coming June for both of those projects as that design continues. Also at the airport, an open house is being planned in July for the community to attend. Certainly if you have questions or notice some activity out there, of course it's exciting to see. Feel free to reach out to the airport manager if you have any questions related to that. At the end of April, I mentioned at the last council meeting that I was going to join representatives from the CVB, the Chamber, the Town of Rome, and our airport manager for a trip to Bandon, Oregon to meet with representatives from the Bandon Dunes Golf Resort and the local community. That is a sister course of the Sand Valley project here in our backyard. And it's been really an eye-opening experience. I've got some reports I'd love to share with you that highlight economic impact. In short, it'll really depend on how quickly that project comes online in our community. They have 5 golf courses associated with their resort in Bandon. One is open here. The next one, Preview Play, is open this summer with Mammoth Dunes opening up. And I understand the clubhouse will be open the 1st of June. So if you haven't been down to Sand Valley, make a visit. Spend a sunset if you can down there. It's really a sight to see. So there will be economic impact in pockets, but certainly impact as it relates to employment. And so that's exciting to see, and we look forward to that. I observed police chief interviews today. It's also National Police Week, so I want to acknowledge the officers that are protecting our community, both in the jurisdiction and around community. Choose to Reuse is happening on Saturday. There's discussions happening around the city website. It's been a kind of a long-standing issue, but wanted to put that on the council's radar that the city and city staff and I are having discussions related to that. You probably all read about Wisconsin dehydration. We did have a productive meeting with owners and plant management last week, and certainly they're doing everything they can to stay compliant with city ordinances, and they've been showing measurable progress, meaningful progress in areas that frankly they didn't quite have quite under control. So I think we're feeling pretty confident in their progress. Planning Commission met last night. Progress is continuing to be made on the zoning report. I encourage you to pick up a copy of that. It's great bedtime reading if you're looking for some, but it really will set the tone for future community character and design or development standards for the future. We're getting pretty close to making our way through that, and Adam can certainly share access to those. There's also a link to a zoning website that Adam can push out that has a lot of that stuff online for your review. I want to acknowledge the Mariani Packing Company's announcement. They've actually kind of broken ground already on their expansion and investment, multi-million-dollar investment, well over $10 million investment, and 35 new jobs to the community. For those of you who work for Verso are aware of this, but I want to mention for the benefit of the community, Verso's got a maintenance outage they're under right now. If you look to the fiber and energy plant, there's nothing coming out of the stacks, and it's because of about a $13 million reinvestment in that, as well as which will ultimately generate about activity with 800 contractors. So another nice investment I wanted to highlight. Quick Trip's also moved up their groundbreaking to the end of May, potentially as soon as, and so that's a little bit ahead of schedule. And that really concludes my report. If you have any questions on the various things we're involved in, it's been a busy time, but it's been exciting at the same time. So thank you. Item number 8, my appointments to various committees, commissions, and boards. There's a single appointment in a letter that was distributed to all of you. Council members, what are your wishes regarding that item? A motion to approve by Rayom. Is there a second? Second by Ferkey. Any discussion on that appointment? See none, please cast your ballots.
Eight ayes, 0 nays, motion carried.
Item 9 under new business, review and consider approval of amendment number 1 to the three-party contract for the design of the East Grand Avenue project from 3rd Street South to 8th Street South. DOT ID 69990719, attachment number 2. Council members, what are your wishes regarding that item?
Move to accept.
Motion to accept by Kellogg. Is there a second? We got a second by Hepp. Move into discussion. Is there any discussion or questions on that item? Seeing no requests to speak, please cast your ballots. I hear that, yeah.
8 ayes, 0 nays, motion carried.
Item 9B, consider a resolution awarding the sale of $4,565,000 general obligation corporate purpose bonds, Series 2017A, attachment number 3. And we've got Phil Cossin here from Ehlers. Phil?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. We have handed out 2 documents prior to the meeting. One is a resolution. It's the final resolution that was prepared after we received the bids today on the bond issue. And then a sale day packet, looks like this. I'm going to go take a little bit of time to walk through the sale day packet with you tonight. If you recall, last month I was here, we had talked about authorizing this sale. Since that time, a number of things have taken place. One, we prepared what's called an official statement. Everybody should have received a copy of that official statement. We rely very heavily on city staff, so we appreciate their quick turnaround on helping us prepare that document. That's like a prospectus on the city that you use then to sell the bonds to investors. And then also, since we last met or had a conference call with Moody's Investor Service. The city is rated. I'm going to have you go on to page 9 of the sale day packet. There's the Moody report. You can see it's on pages 9 through 13. The real key items, I think, are outlined on page 9, a little bit on 10. And I'll summarize really good news, and it's, I think, what was expected when we went into the call. Tim DeSorsi joined me on that call. Tim does all the heavy lifting in that call. It is primarily a financial report, as you can imagine. The good news, they assigned the AA3 rating, reassigned. That's been the rating for a number of years now. They've identified under credit strengths and challenges what they view as being the challenges and strengths for the city. Credit strengths, healthy reserves, and liquidity. You have a very substantial fund balance. That is probably your number one credit issue. That's a positive issue for the city. A too modest pension burden. Most communities in Wisconsin share that same comment. Under challenges, they've identified a few small tax base compared to similar rated credits, and not just comparing Wisconsin Rapids to other Wisconsin credits, but also nationwide that are AA3. Below average demographic profile, some of the wealth indices are a little bit below state averages, and then elevated fixed costs. I can guarantee that's one you probably have not seen, but that comes across in every rating in Wisconsin. And it has a lot to do with how you have the ability to raise funds. Other states have more options. We're really tied to, the levy as the primary item, and then some funds that come out of Madison. So the fixed costs are normally what we see. They have, under the rating outlook, identified really no assigned outlook. They, I think, feel you're a very strong AA3. Challenges that could lead to a downgrade are on the bottom of the page. I think number one, and it will remain number one for a long time here, will be if you draw on your fund balance substantially, liquidate some of that fund balance, they would view that as a real negative. And then also deterioration of the tax base. If you wanted to see what would it take to bump up to a AA2, I think it's two items, and they've identified, but it's really the first. It's really growth. Tax-based growth is really going to be what drives the bump up to a AA2, which will not be easily obtained. If you look at where you sit amongst other AA3 rated communities, you're already on the low end of that, so you'd have to see a substantial amount of growth to get there. So that's the credit report. We use that in selling the bonds also today. Going back to page 1 of the report, this is a quick one-page summary of what occurred today. We took bids at 11 o'clock today on behalf of the city. We received 4 bids. We tend to see anywhere between 3 and about 5 to 6 bids. This was a 20-year debt issue, so as you go out longer, there's a little more risk, and you have less players that may bid on it. So we received 4 bids. Winning bidder was Northland Securities out of Minneapolis. I'll talk about the other bidders in a little bit. Their bid was 2.796%. So you're financing projects over 20 years, or a majority of the projects over 20 years, and obtaining the money at 2.7496%. The high bid is 280.91, and then the difference is 30,000 between the low bid and the high bid. Not much of a gap between the different players. If you go into the page 2 and page 3, 2, 3, and 4, I'm sorry, that's the bid tabulation. Those are the bids who also bid. Northland Securities obviously was the low bid. If you flip to page 3, BOK Financial Securities out of Milwaukee was second. Cantor Fitzgerald and Company out of Memphis, Tennessee was third. And then fourth was Barrett out of Milwaukee. So a lot of local, upper Midwest, and then ironic, I don't know, Cantor Fitzgerald, we see it seldom, but they jumped in and bid. So if you go to page 5, maybe as a quick reminder of what was financed, it's a big dollar amount for the city. It's a little bit more than what you typically would undertake for your annual borrowing. On page 5, we've identified, it's really the first 3 items under the projects list. 2017 street projects, you've typically done $1 million to $1.5 million of street projects. The 2017 East River Bank Bike Path project is being financed. And then the biggest ticket item here is the Regional Aquatic Facility. This finances about half of the city's obligation for that, with the rest really being proposed for sometime around 2018. It may drift out. We'll see what the timing is. But We have accounted for that. You can see in subsequent future issue identified for 2018. The bid that was received, the winning bid, had a couple of components that are interesting, maybe only to me, but they're interesting. One is they bid a premium, and I think when I was here last time, there was a premium bid as well. We see this on most debt issues. And a premium is kind of a unique situation where they actually provide the city with more money than your request. In return, they can increase the interest rates that they charge you, and that makes the bonds more marketable on the secondary market to who they're going to sell them to. So because of that, we are looking to have you adopt a resolution at a amount less than what you authorized. What you authorized last month was $4,565,000, and what we're asking you to authorize tonight is $4,515,000. That's the amount you'll see in the resolution that was handed out. So different than what's on your agenda, $50,000 less. So that's what we're asking for approval tonight. At the end of the day, if you go to, there's one fold-out page, which is on page 8. There's a ton of numbers on here. Well, I guess what I want to point out is, at the end of the day, due to the premium that was bid, we ended up about $70,000 less in total cost for the issue that we're asking to have you approve tonight than what was authorized, the pre-sale estimate. So about $70,000 less than what was approved. And then the last page of the packet is a bond sale chart kind of showing what's happened with the bond market over the last year. Looks like quite a roller coaster. If you look at this over a 5, 10, or 20-year period, it looked like kind of a blip on the radar. It looks dramatic because it's over the last year. Obviously, we were at historic lows in the bond market last summer. We saw a little bit of an increase in the bond market during the election cycle, and then in part due to some Fed action in the last couple of months, we've seen rates stay where they are, and I think they're going to stay at that new level going forward. So all in all, we thought a very good sale. 4 bids, 2.75% roughly for 20-year financing, and retaining your rating at AA3.
Thanks, Phil. Tim, did you have anything further to cover? All right, excellent. Council members, any questions for Phil? Okay. With that, thank you, Phil. We've got a resolution in front of us this evening, which is titled Resolution Awarding the Sale of $4,515,000 General Obligation Corporate Purpose Bonds, Series 2017A. Council members, what are your wishes regarding that item?
I'd make a motion to approve awarding the sale of $4,515,000 general obligation corporate purpose bonds.
We have a motion by Ferkey. Is there a second? Second by Dolan, looks like. Move into discussion. Are there any requests to speak? See no requests to speak. Please cast your ballots.
8 ayes, 0 nays, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil. We'll see you soon, I'm sure. Item 9C, consider an initial resolution setting a date for a public hearing regarding the vacation of an alley connecting Schrodman Avenue and Taylor Avenue between Lincoln Street and 5th Street South, attachment number 4 in your packets. Council members, what are your wishes regarding that item?
Are you looking for the specific date in the motion? Or just approve the?
Nope.
Approval of the,
You just need to approve the resolution.
the date should be in the
I'll make a motion then to approve the initial resolution setting a date for a public hearing regarding the vacation of the alley connecting Strodeman Avenue and Taylor Avenue between Lincoln Street and Fifth Street South.
Motion by Zerflu, second by Kellogg. Move into discussion. Are there any requests to speak? See no request to speak. Please cast your ballots. Should be, right?
Eight ayes, 0 nays, motion carried.
Item number 10, Standing Council Committee Reports. Item A, the Finance and Property Committee meeting held May 9th and meeting held May 16th. Alderperson Zerflu, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Finance and Property Committee met at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, May 9th, 2017, in the third floor conference room at City Hall. Alderperson Hepp was excused. All other members were present. Also attending were Brian Brown, Tim DeSorcy, Mayor Vruwink, Alderperson Kellogg, Alderperson Rayom, Joe Eichstead, Caitlin Schuda from the Wisconsin Rapids Daily Tribune, and Joe Bachman, Wisconsin Rapids City Times. Item number 1, call to order. The meeting was called to order at 5 p.m. Item number 2, consider approval of a request to purchase office furniture for the Information Technology Department. There was a motion and a second to approve of a request to purchase office furniture for the Information Technology Department from Emmons Business Interiors in the amount of $9,184.34. That motion carried. Item number 3, consider recommendation from Statewide Services to deny a claim from We Energies for damages to a gas line and lost gas. No action was taken on that item. Item 4, consider approval of a request from the Wisconsin Rapids Rafters to sponsor a free movie night at Whitterfield on August 11th, 2017. There was a motion and a second to approve a request from the Wisconsin Rapids Rafters to sponsor a free movie night at Whitterfield on August 11th, 2017. That motion carried. Item 5, consider resolution authorizing the execution of a trial agreement with Solaris to provide public Wi-Fi service to veterans in Mead Rapids View Parks. No action was taken on that item. Item 6, final review and approval of the 2017-2018 liquor, beer, wine license applications. There was a motion and a second to approve of the 2017-2018 liquor, beer, wine license applications contingent upon the payment of any personal property taxes and any renewal or other fees by June 30th. As the applications were presented, that motion carried. Item number 7, beverage operator license applications. There was a motion and a second to approve the beverage operator license applications as presented. That motion carried. Item number 8, audit of the bills. There was a motion and a second to approve check numbers 67291 to 67632 and manual check numbers 99252 through 99273. That motion carried. Item 9, parent A, in open session, the committee may vote to go into closed session under section 19.85, parent 1, parent E of the Wisconsin statutes, which reads, deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. There was a motion and a second to go into closed session pursuant to section 19.85, parent 1, parent E of the Wisconsin statutes. Roll call vote was taken. That motion passed unanimously. Parent B, in closed session, the committee will discuss negotiations regarding the acquisition of property in the downtown area. In closed session, the committee discussed negotiations regarding the acquisition of property in the downtown area. And parent C, in closed session, the committee will discuss negotiations regarding the acquisition of property along 2nd Avenue South as part of the Wisconsin DOT Project 6999-03-20. In closed session, the committee discussed negotiations regarding the acquisition of property along 2nd Avenue South as part of the Wisconsin DOT Project 6999-03-20. And parent D, the commission may return to open session and may take action or make recommendations regarding item 9B and 9C. We did not return to open session. Item number 10 was adjourned. The meeting adjourned in closed session at 6 p.m. And the Finance Property Committee also met at 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday, May 16th, 2017, in the first floor conference room at City Hall. All members were present. Also attending were Mayor Vruwink, Tim DeSorsi, Adam Teagan, Alderperson Tom Rayom, Dale Schoeneman, Adam Brunig, Zach Coleman, Keith Wilkes, Maggie Molesky, and Joe Bachman from the Wisconsin Rapids City Times. Item 1, call to order. The meeting was called to order at 5:30 PM. Item number 2, review and consider request from the Waterworks and Lighting Commission for approval to apply to the Wisconsin DNR for Safe Drinking Water Loan Program financial assistance. See attached application and agreement. There was a motion and a second to approve a request from Waterworks and Lighting Commission for approval to apply to the Wisconsin DNR for Safe Drinking Water Loan Program financial assistance up to $300,000. Motion carried. Item 3, consider approval of a special events application submitted by Current of Wisconsin Rapids for Beer and Cheese, a downtown block party event to be held on Friday, June 16th in conjunction with Cranberry Blossom Festival. This includes closure of 2nd Street North from Jackson Street to Oak Street, vending, Holly Rocks Tavern, Bottoms Up Bar, Whiskey Rapids Saloon, and Jennings Bar. There was a motion and a second to approve a special events application submitted by Current of Wisconsin Rapids for Beer and Cheese, a downtown block party event to be held on Friday, June 16th, in conjunction with Cranberry Blossom Festival. The special events application is amended to include the eastern sidewalk of First Street from Jackson Street to Oak Street in the event's description of streets or public areas to be used section. That motion carried. Item 4, review and consideration of a highest and best use analysis for Rapids Mall with Jeff Green Partners at a cost not to exceed $35,000. There was a motion and a second to approve of a highest and best use analysis for Rapids Mall performed by Jeff Green Partners and Hoffman Strategy Group at a cost not to exceed $35,000. That motion carried. Item 5 was adjournment. There was a motion and a second to adjourn. Motion carried, and that meeting adjourned at 5:54 PM. And I will move to accept the minutes from both meetings.
We have a motion by Zerflu and a second by Kellogg. Move into discussion. Are there any requests to speak? See no request to speak, please cast your ballots.
Eight ayes, 0 nays, motion carried.
Item 10C, the Public Works Committee meeting held May 2nd. Alderperson Rayom.
Thank you, Your Honor. Public Works Committee met at 6 PM on Tuesday, May 2nd, 2017, in the first floor conference room at City Hall. All members were present. Also attending were Joe Terry, Paul Vollert, Paul Shabilsky, and Kyle Wagner. Item 1, reviewed the DPW report. The DPW report was reviewed. Item 2, review proposed 2017 rates to owners and 2017 assessment rates. It was moved and seconded to approve the 2017 rates to the owners and 2017 assessment rates as presented. The motion carried. Item 3, curb and gutter assessment ordinance review. It was moved and seconded to approve the curb and gutter assessment ordinance pending approval by the city attorney, and the motion carried. Item 4, review staff report and recommendations relating to recycling collection. It is recommended to direct staff to draft ordinance language regarding recycling collection. Item 5, review proposed 2018 to 2022 Public Works capital projects. The various Public Works capital projects proposed between 2018 and 2022 were reviewed. It was moved by Kellogg and seconded by Coth to approve of a proposed 2018 to 2022 Public Works capital projects plan. The motion carried. Plan is contingent upon the city's financial abilities, and those plans are available for anybody to look at. They are in the minutes. Item 6 was to review the referral list. Item 12, referral number 2 of 2017 was to discuss pavement markings and signage for bicycle lanes, and that was removed from the list. Item 7 was to adjourn, and it was moved and seconded to adjourn. The motion carried. The meeting adjourned at 6:40 PM, and I move for adoption of the report.
We have a motion to approve by Rayom, a second by Zerflu. As a point of information, or clarification, the ordinances will be brought back next month relating to those on items 3 and 4, since they were not included, obviously, in the piece. Right. Yep. Very good. Any further, are there any requests to speak? See no requests to speak, please cast your ballots.
Eight ayes, 0 nays, motion carried.
Item 10D, the Human Resources Committee meeting held on May 3rd.
Good evening, Mayor. The Human Resources Committee met at 4 p.m. on Wednesday, May 3rd, 2017, in the third floor conference room at City Hall. All members were present. Also present were Beth Buchanowitz, Alexis Schultz, Paul Vollert, Paul Shabilsky, Joe Bachman, Wisconsin Rapids City Times. The meeting was called to order at 4:02 p.m. Item number 2 was discuss a request to approve a revised smoking policy. It was moved by Ferkey and seconded by Kubasak to approve the smoking policy revisions with the explicit exemption of chewing tobacco. Chewing tobacco can be used outside. Motion carried with Kellogg voting in the negative. Attachment 1. Item number 3 was to discuss a request from the Public Works Director and Public Works Superintendent to approve increasing the stipend paid to relief supervisors. It was moved by Kellogg and seconded by Kubasak to approve a request from the Public Works Director and Public Works Superintendent increasing the stipend paid to relief supervisors from $20 to $30 per day, and that motion carried. Item number 4 was to discuss a request to approve an amendment to the health plan regarding coverage for 3D mammograms. It was moved by Ferkey, seconded by Kellogg to approve an amendment to the health plan to include coverage for 3D mammograms retroactive to January 1st, 2017, and that motion carried. Item number 5 was adjournment. It was moved by Ferkey and seconded by Kellogg to adjourn. That motion carried. The meeting adjourned at 4:50 p.m. With that, I will place this Human Resources Committee meeting minutes for your approval.
We have a motion to approve by Ferkey with a second by Kubasak. Move into discussion. Are there any requests to speak? Alderperson Kellogg, you're first.
Yeah, I would like to pull number 2, the smoking policy, for discussion.
Okay. That leaves the balance of the report. Actually, there should be an amendment to the motion technically. Yeah, is there unanimous consent to hold that item out? All in favor? Aye?
Yep.
All right. Any opposed? Hearing none, that item will be withheld. That'll leave the balance of the report. Are there any requests to speak on the balance of the report? Seeing no requests to speak, please cast your ballots on the approval of the report with the exception of item number 2.
Eight ayes, 0 nays, motion carried.
That leaves item number 2D up for discussion or any action. Alderperson Kellogg, I think you wanted to speak on that item.
Yes, this is a tobacco product policy, and if you look at the policy itself, where it states to protect the health and comfort of the public and city employees. So the purpose is to protect the health of city employees. And then if you go down to the third paragraph where it's shaded, and they have the listing of tobacco products, the chewing tobacco is exempt and may be used outside. And I have a concern about that, because if the policy is to protect the health of the city employees, chewing tobacco has carcinogens that is similar to cigarettes, it could cause oral cancer, gum disease, tooth decays, and other illness. And it concerns me that it's not just in the policy, but there's an exemption. And I understand the flip side of this topic, because it's, if you're chewing tobacco, it affects that one individual. Like smoking, for example, you have other people around you, it may affect them. And I think some people would argue with regard to this, because if this person wants to chew tobacco outside, it only affects that person. But if our purpose of this policy is to protect the health of the employees in the city, then I think the chewing tobacco should be part of the policy and not be exempted for outside. If they're outside, they just don't smoke, chew tobacco. And so that's why I said nay. Now, I'm going to say nay when this comes up for a vote. And if anybody wants to join me and think that is a concern, then maybe we have a discussion and talk about a motion to change the language. But I just feel it's just contrary to our principle and policy that we've set up if we're going to keep that as a separate item.
Thank you. The floor remains open to potential motion. Alderperson Kubaschak, you're next.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. The reason why I voted to exempt chewing tobacco is as far as an employer standpoint. It's getting more and more challenging to retain and recruit quality people. And coming from the construction background, what I want to do is not create artificial barriers in terms of recruiting and retaining people, but construction is different. You know, it's the case where people use chewing tobacco a lot, and does that affect their work? And really, one of the reasons why I wanted to come onto this council was to make the organization better, and by removing barriers to having the best quality people, that's what I want to do. And, you know, we're not the catcher in the rye. You know, these are adults. They're going to make decisions, and sometimes decisions to use chewing tobacco might adversely affect their health. But I don't know how much resources and time we want to spend on patrolling that and patrolling what they do at their home, and especially if it doesn't affect residents. If it's a case where someone is out paving a road, I don't know. If they want to make poor lifestyle choices, I'm not going to stop them. I got to admit, I can empathize. I used chewing tobacco for 17 years. I quit about a year and a half ago, and it was probably the best decision that I've ever made in my life. But that's my decision. So again, as for an employment standpoint, as being the employer, I want to get the best employees we can and retain the best employees we can. And if the worst thing that they're doing is using chewing tobacco, well, I guess I won't worry about it. Thank you.
Alderperson Zerflu, you're next.
I'm really conflicted on this, but I'm curious if employees gave any feedback.
There were just a couple. The policy was sent to all of the department heads as well as the union president for the DPW group, and he did respond. There was a supervisor also within the DPW group that responded. I think their feeling is that the chewing tobacco should be exempted from the policy. There were a couple of department heads that responded that they felt all tobacco products should be excluded, so, or included in the policy and not allowed.
I think if I'm right on this, I think firefighters have like a different set of rules when it comes to smoking, right? Oh, they don't? Okay. Okay. So, I mean, I guess the only, comment I'd want to make is we're not going to be able to control what they do outside of work. And, I mean, I guess I don't have a problem with it if it doesn't affect the health of people around you, so.
Right, so the attorneys wanted to clarify that this is a policy during work, purely during work hours. Well,
Yeah, I was just saying that if, you know, when they go home, they're gonna smoke or chew or do whatever they wanna do.
Alderperson Dolan, you're next.
Sorry. I would agree with Alderperson Kubitschek that, you know, it's a personal choice. Work with a lot of people that do it at work, so it doesn't really bother me much, but I just want to make sure, do you have all the other ones covered in this policy? I mean, half serious, but do you have them all covered?
All the other tobacco products?
Yeah, I mean,
You got Cavendish in there, it looks
I'm
like.
not so sure I know all.
Hookah pens and
We hope so.
vape pens. And I don't know if we have a resident expert, but it's a good question. I
Yeah.
think, you know, what's next, probably, right? You know, Adeline has been involved in a lot of this work, and probably a bit more of an expert probably than many of us on this topic. I don't know if you truthfully have anything to say about it. I know you're passionate about this issue, and certainly, if you feel comfortable saying something, you certainly can, but a good question. Alderperson Realm, you're next.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm probably tore on this, believe it or not, probably the most of anybody, because having been here when I think this went in way back when, I think you can remember, Beth. I'm not going to get into the tirade that I went through, probably opposing it at that point in time and whatever, and now saying tore on which way to go with it, really. And with that, I wanted to do some research, and actually I forgot. I wanted to check back because I think I actually read the other day that it's illegal for the ball players at Miller Park to chew on the field. And I wanted to double check on that because I think I read that the other day. And so, you know, how far this has come, and part of my thing 20 years ago or so when this was going in, that the government, without going over this all again, the government says we can do it because they didn't want to put tobacco farms out of business because there was too much tax money for the government, and the government wanted to keep bringing tax money in because otherwise they're going to have to find other places to get tax money. And it's still that way today. So that's why you're not going to see it taken off the shelves. You'll just see the price go up. So I am tore on the issue. I do think it's should be, because it is legal, that it should be left up to the person to, I guess, do what I guess they want to do with their body. I know what things have done to mine. I do believe I'm going to, believe it or not, go along with Scott on the vote on this, though, this evening. I think, I guess, I didn't see that there was a big rush from the rank and file to, that I know of anyway, to have the policy changed. If there was, I guess that's news to me. So I guess chewing, I think, is as bad as smoking to a big degree. Is that how long it's left in the mouth, and that against the cheek and gum, and that of all the different cancers that can be caused by it, and that. So, like I said, I'm torn which way to go with this, and I thought because there aren't many of us that were here way back when this came about, but how violently probably it would be that I opposed this being thrown in, now being torn which way to go with this, that it does show that some people can, but it takes time, that some people can come full circle, at least partway of a full circle on how they do believe in, that they can change their minds on things. So even a stubborn whatever I am at times, so thank you.
Thanks, Alderperson Rayom. Alderperson Coth, you're next.
Like a lot of other people here, I'm kind of torn and conflicted on the issue myself. I know a lot of places are going to completely tobacco-free, and it's hard to catch a lot of people, and it's added another thing to add on to supervisors to try to check for the people that are breaking the policy. What I have seen in places that I've worked, though, I think it's a very valid issue to try to get people to quit using tobacco, but I think the better way to do it is to encourage people to do it through economic incentives. For example, people that do use tobacco generally get penalized by their insurance for using that. I think some companies have also started up programs to try to incentivize people, like, you can get $50 a quarter or something if you're making healthy choices. I think maybe if that's something that the Human Resources Committee explored to try to get people to quit doing tobacco, to like offer incentives, that might help eradicate the problem other than by making another policy. But I do agree with you, Scott. It'd be nice to see it go away. But I think the only way it's going to go away is by offering an incentive as opposed to a policy.
See no further requests to speak. The floor is still open for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the human resources policy on tobacco use as presented tonight.
A motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Ferkey. Motion by Zerflu, second by Ferkey. Any further requests to speak on the matter? Seeing no further requests to, is there a request to speak? Alderperson Kubitschek?
Just for clarification, what we're voting on right now is with the exemption of chewing tobacco, just for clarification.
Correct, as it's presented tonight, yep. All right, any other requests to speak? See no further requests to speak. Please cast your ballots.
Six ayes, 2 nays, motion carried.
Thank you. Item 11, miscellaneous reports. Item 1 is the Southwood County Airport Commission meeting held April 6th. Number 2, the Housing Authority monthly meeting held on March 29th. Number 3, Housing Authority Resident Advisory Board meeting held on February 14th. Item 4, the McMillan Memorial Library Board of Trustees meeting held on March 15th. Item 5, the Police and Fire Commission meetings held April 13th and May 3rd. Item 6, the Park and Recreation Commission meeting held on April 12th. Item 7, the Wisconsin Rapids Fire Department monthly report for April. Item 8, the Waterworks and Lighting Commission meetings held February 8th, 14th, and March 15th. And item 9, the Wastewater Treatment Commission meeting held on May 3rd. Council members, what are your wishes regarding those items?
I'll make a motion to accept and place on file.
We have a motion by Ferkey. Is there a second? And a second by Coth. Are there any requests to speak? See no requests to speak, please cast your ballots. Oh.
8 ayes, 0 nays, motion carried.
All right, item number 12, referral of communication to committees. Perfect. Alderperson Kubitschek?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, I've got a draft resolution to support the legislation that is going to now block the dark store loophole that we've been talking about or the League of Wisconsin Municipalities has been talking about. The state legislature officially is going to come out this week, maybe early into next week, with the actual bills, the bill numbers. Right now, it's Legislative Review Bureau Bill 0372 and 0373, and this is a model resolution that was created by the League of Wisconsin Municipalities, and they are in affirmative. They approve of the legislation that's being drafted. So I would like to refer this to the floor of the next council meeting then.
Thank you. Are there any other referral of communication to committees? See no further requests to speak. Move into adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Realm. Is there a second? Second by Zerflu. All in favor? Any opposed? Stand adjourned. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of your evening.